3 years ago, nothing really worked. Everything stopped working, so the music became my enemy. I was very threatened by everything. I was scared of everything. I stopped sleeping, which was the most was the sort of darkest manifestation of the illness at that time. And I knew instinctively that I needed help. Fortunately, I'd always had the music to back me up, to fall into. I could always immerse myself in creativity when I would feel those things. And this time the music didn't work. So layer upon layer of panic and anxiety built because I had no anchor. The depression was much more like wearing a very heavy blanket, a big grey blanket, and not really wanting to take it off. There's some kind of comfort in it in a way. That side of things combined with the panic was really just this. I felt like I was constantly up and down with these waves of nothingness. There's something about the not knowing why you feel how you feel. The amazingly addictive thing about depression is that you're constantly trying to resolve it, and that unfortunately becomes the issue. That you think you can think your way out of it, and why can't you think your way out of it? And then it becomes just a negative, vicious cycle, which can result in insomnia or anxiety or whatever symptoms you have. You know, for a while, music was my enemy because I was just afraid of everything, and I couldn't really figure out what was hurting me the most. So I just stopped everything, and slowly over time I rebuilt my relationship back up with my own music, with my own creativity. To admit your weakness is power in itself, and that is the first step to recovery. Even if you're afraid, even if you're at your worst, you always have the awareness of that, and that becomes your anchor. That becomes the starting point. And once you have something to work on like that, you're not just swimming in the abyss. You know, you have somewhere to start and something to build on. I was yearning for routine, and once I got into a very regimented way of living, which also helps with the insomnia. You know, I would have to eat at specific times. I would eat very specific things. I would exercise at certain times. I would meditate at certain times. Everything was regimented, and that was very grounding for me. And over time, that things slowly got better. A lot of it is about making friends with fear, getting to know yourself, knowing your illness, acceptance is a huge thing. One of the fundamental things that came to me was the fact that I wanted to help people, and I'd never really seen my life like that. And it's obviously, no one is purely altruistic. It's impossible. But at that moment, I felt enlightened by the fact that this is what I want. I just want to help people. Whatever that brings, I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna follow that feeling. I want to communicate to people, and it's something that I've always done subconsciously, I guess, through the music. But to become aware of it was the first step to my recovery. First of all, you have to put a name to it. You have to face it. You have to admit that it is a thing. Then you can separate yourself from it. It doesn't have to be you. It can just be something that you're carrying, and it will help you deal with if you have issues of self-doubt or self-esteem issues, if you have deep-rooted guilt, deep-rooted hatred for yourself, you can separate yourself from that, and that's a good place to start. Being fearless is probably the thing that helped me the most. That if you just ask yourself the question, what's the worst that can happen? And I would sit every day and just think, well, what's the worst that can happen? You matter, you're needed, you rock.